Hi, welcome to the video. Show you how to make a podcast for iTunes with Blogger and SoundCloud. First thing you do is go to soundcloud.com, set up a free account. When you've done that, just click on the upload button and then select your podcast episode, just an MP3 file from your computer, and just click the open button there. Put a title and a description in for this. And then, very important, a bit further down the page, you've got two settings. One is public, which you need to make sure is checked, and downloads enabled needs to be checked. Very important. If you don't do that bit, then your podcast won't download and it won't work. Once you've uploaded your file, SoundCloud will take you to a page that looks a bit like this. And all you need to do from there is just copy the URL from the top of the page, but then put a /download.mp3 at the end of it. And just copy that somewhere, make a note of it, because you're going to need that later to paste into what will become your podcast, but it will start off as a blog. So just pop that into Notepad or text edit if you're using a Mac. And then next, head over to Blogger, sign in with your Google account, and create a new blog. Put a title in for your podcast, and also select a name. So it'll be whatever.blogspot.com. Just leave the theme as the dynamic views, and then create blog. Once it's done that, you need to head straight over to the settings, which is at the top on the right. Click the settings button, and then click on other, which is at the bottom left. And there's an option about halfway down, RSS enclosures. You need to make sure that's set to yes. That's very important. If you don't do that, then it ain't going to work. So make sure you do that. Okay, once your blog's created, you need to create a blog post. Now this will be what the title of this and the description will be what will actually appear in your podcast download. So bear that in mind. And then once you've done that, on the right hand side, there's an enclosures tab. This is where you paste the SoundCloud URL with the download.mp3 bit that we copied earlier. You paste it into there. Once you've done that, it will select the MIME type automatically, and then just click publish at the top of the post. And that post is now live on your new blog on blogger.com, but it's not a podcast yet. One more step we need to make before that actually becomes something you can download into iTunes. So just view the blog, and again, the URL at the top there, just copy it into Notepad. It's important you make a note of your new Blogger address, because you're going to need it for the next step. Just paste it into Notepad, and then we move on to burning your podcast feed using feedburner.com, which you can log into again with your Google account. Just paste the newly created Blogger address into that field, select I'm a podcaster, click next. And then when it says identify feed source, you want to make sure you select the RSS 2.0 as a feed source. Again, click next. And it'll put the new podcast feed URL down there. So you can copy it from that page, make a note of it, or copy it from the next page. But make sure you do make a note of that, because that's actually now going to effectively be your live URL to your podcast that you can start sharing with people so they can download your episodes. So just paste that into Notepad as a reference. Okay, click next. We can set some iTunes specific information here, so you can select the kind of the type of podcast it is. So if you select a category, this is just for iTunes. So if you actually end up publishing it on iTunes, obviously iTunes knows where to file it, so people can find it. You can put in title, description, subtitles. You can put in some keywords as well. All good for sort of if you're relying on sort of keywords for people to find your podcast, then make sure you put them in here. Once you've said all that, just click the next button. and you can just select a couple more options on here. I just tick everything. This allows you to collect certain sort of stats from when people sort of share your podcast and listen to it. So it's all very useful analytics sort of stuff. Once you've done that, it's ready to go. So you can actually click that RSS button there to go directly to the podcast. So you've got the URL in case you didn't make a note of it before, or you can just get it from Notepad, or you copied and pasted it, as long as you've got a copy of that. Next thing is to download it into iTunes, check it works, fire up iTunes, click on the Advanced tab and select Subscribe to Podcast. Just paste the new Feedburner URL into there, click OK. And as soon as you do that, you'll see that it'll immediately try and download your podcast, and then all the information you've set, your podcast title, the subtitle, the description, will all start being populated there into iTunes. And if you actually sort of double click on the podcast and take a look, you can see it's actually downloading the first episode, which is what we just uploaded to blogger.com. Again, with the title, post description, everything appearing in iTunes, and most importantly, obviously, the podcast file itself downloaded and ready to play. And that pretty much sums it up. That's how easy it is to create a podcast just using SoundCloud, blogger.com, and Feedburner. So if you want to learn a bit more, you can always go to the website, which is podcast.redevelopment.co.uk.